garage. They don't really give any details. Like they're not saying if it's just like a garage with a cot in it, or if it's actually somebody paid some money to actually make this garage into a room now. So the details on that part of it are kind of sketchy as to what it is. The buzzword that caught my attention because of a conversation that Rob and I had the other day in regards to baseball was the term human trafficking was mentioned during my reading. So I'm reading. Just to give you the details of what happened. March 24th, 2014, a year ago, after a beating the day prior at a house in Cinnamon Oaks Drive in southern Dallas, where he was living, young Troy was living, his teammate, his last name is Turner, and I can't find his first name here. His last name is Turner. He played basketball for Dallas Madison High School. He was arrested and faces a manslaughter charge. Causey and Turner lived with Causey's third cousin and the cousin's parents in a converted garage at the house. According to Simpson's lawsuit, upwards of 30 such DISD recruiting replacements, that's the DeKalb something school district, has occurred at properties owned by the same owner of the residence where Causey and Turner had been placed. So it's almost like this, if you can picture it, like this underground railroad of high school basketball player recruits. Like they go get these kids from wherever they live, and they move them into these homes that are in this particular school district, so that they can play ball at this particular school. The thing that confuses me about this is a part of the article. It says his mom actually lived in the school district. So here's where it gets tough. Because this is where people really don't want to do this, because it seems like it's insensitive. But I feel like I have to ask, like, Mom, what the hell? How does somebody convince you? Like, what's the incentive? Now, obviously, you got a kid that can find his way into trouble because he's already, he's in juvenile. When the coaches come get him, he's already in juvenile for some violent stuff too, not for like stealing or for like possession of some marijuana or anything. It's an assault beef that has him spending time in juvenile in the first place. But just me and my sensibilities tell me I have to ask, how does that happen? How does somebody come to your house and she names the coach as the person who comes to her and convinces her to move her son out of her house? And he says it's so that the young guy get a better education. Then what? You're already in the school district. It doesn't add up to me. And when somebody's hurt, she's hurt. Her baby boy's gone. You know what I mean? Her son's gone over some foolishness. And when a lot of times when you're hurt, somebody has to pay. So she's suing the school district. In reality, I don't know what kind of case you have. She's suing them over the recruiting practices, which are illegal. But to make the link between that and her son's death, that's a mighty leap. You know what I mean? Two kids got to fighting. As far as the story goes, there's a suspicion by her that there were more than one person involved in this tragedy. That there's a possibility that maybe her son got jumped on. But either way, what we're talking about is kids fighting, and then one kid unfortunately perishing in the situation. The point of me bringing this up, Rob, is that as much as I kill the NCAA at any given chance I get, this is one of those things that's even more of it's even more of an eye-opening situation. Like I've always asked this question, even when I was coaching like little kids. Like, how important is it for adults? How important is it for you to win a game? You know what I mean? Like,
you know how important it is to adults. You know.
I guess I should ask, why is it that important? Maybe that's the better question, because you're right.
Well,
I do
a lot
know.
of times,
why?
A lot of times, Mike, and you know, because you've been a youth coach yourself. I mean, and I don't know, exactly how much of this you saw during your coaching days, but I mean, I see a lot of times you have, especially these guys, living vicariously through their kids. And just to go back, what was that? Was that Real Sports that did the feature on the rec teams down in Florida?
Yes, it was. Medulla down there betting big money on 7-year-olds.
Right. And you see the kind of money that these guys are betting on these kids. And I mean, like I said, it's one of those deals where I just I was listening. What was that? Night before last, I just happened to be listening to Greg Street, like right when he came on at 6 o'clock, and he was talking about he was going to have Eagle Eye. I think it's called Eagle Eye Scouting. They were going to be joining the show the other day, and basically what they do is they go in and that's one of the companies that track these rec ball players and their stats and all of that kind of stuff. So just the fact that it starts at that young of an age where if I have an 8-year-old, I can go online and see his stats. I mean, that just kind of lets you know to these adults like how important it is. I mean, it's definitely different from our day. I mean, but
yeah, it was it was just such a sad story to me, because there's enough blame to go around, and like I say, no one's gonna want to do that. No one's gonna want to ask mom what's going on. And in full disclosure, I have a very what I believe is a very, very reasonable theory on motherhood versus fatherhood. And it may sound crazy to some, but I believe wholeheartedly that it is a woman. It is her number one priority to protect her child. And here is why. Because even biologically, as soon as you become pregnant, your body begins to change in order to protect that child. Whether you choose to or not, your body, physically, you change so that thing that's growing inside of you will have some semblance of protection. And as the kid begins to be born, like we all know, like as a father, you have to develop a relationship with your child after birth, because while like everything that your child has before that point, before that 9 months is up, comes directly from the mother. Like everything she drinks, everything she eats, everything she's exposed to is transferred directly from her into the child. That none of that happens with dad at all.
Right.
So just in a biological sense, like damn anything religiously or anything like that, biologically, as a woman, your place is to protect your child. So when you hear about these chicks that get with these dudes, and it's like, oh, I can't believe, you got with me and now you're leaving. What's that gonna do to little Johnny? That's your fault, Mom. You should have done a better job of scouting this douchebag out before you had him all around your kid and all that. Just my opinion. So when I look at a situation like this, and some dude was able to coerce this lady to move her son, and I understand partially the being at your wit's end type situation. We talked about it the other day. What did I talk about the other day? About women who put their sons in basketball, single moms who put their son, especially in the black community, put their sons in basketball and football. A lot of the times, it's for the same reason that a woman will go and date a dude who ain't about nothing. You feel like having that male presence is something good for the kid, and the more of it, the better. But there's still something incumbent upon you to make sure it's the right influence. It just can't be some dude. And especially if a dude has an ulterior motive. Like, if this coach is coming to you and he's going to get your kid out of juvenile or recruit your kid in juvenile, you have to ask the question. You have to ask, like, you're here just for basketball purposes. And if that's the case, cool. Because you feel like there's something for you on the other end. There's a scholarship for your kid or something on the other end, something to help him better his life. But with that being the case, you can't just take your hands off and say, you got him, coach. Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah, you still have to be a parent.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day, you know, at the end of the day, you their child's parent. And you know, in a lot of situations, I mean, I've seen stuff like that where, and I thought you were actually going to say that they lived out of the school district, but the fact that you say that they lived in the school district.
That was the surprising part. Like, I had to read it like 3 more times. I was like, is this thing saying that they actually live in the same school district as the school that the kid actually went to?
Right.
Yeah, it's, Rob, I don't know, man. I feel for the lady, man. I do. Because no parent, man, should have to lose their child, man, especially on some ignorance like that. The circumstances that the kid was put in, again, what am I always talking about? It's not the employers or the employees. It's the employers. It's the adults. It's the adults that make these decisions for these damn kids, and then something tragic like this happens. Now, if you're a mom, somebody's got to be to blame. Not me. Hell no. The school district, the coach, somebody else got to be to blame. When in reality, yeah, all y'all jump in the same pot, man. Because everyone made mistakes. Everyone made mistakes. And now this kid is gone. It's, you know, it was just reading it, man. I was like, golly, am I going to talk about this tonight or not? I put it in my notes. You know, I highlighted all the stuff in the articles that I wanted to speak about. And, you know, because it's Thursday, Friday. I didn't know. For those of you who don't know, it's when we treat Thursday like it's a Friday.
And then we'll go hard tomorrow,
right?
Which is the crazy part.
There'll be plenty of stuff to talk about tomorrow. Like everybody, there'll be like 12 buzzer beaters today. There'll be plenty of stuff to talk about tomorrow.
Right.
Like John Calipari will be coaching the Hawks or something tomorrow. Something crazy like that happen. You know, he'll quit in the middle of the tournament and just start coaching the Hawks. You know.
Now speaking of which, I know you remember in the off season. Before they hired David Blatt. Remember Dan Gilbert was talking to Coach Cal?
Right.
Remember that?
Right.
But that was before LeBron decided to come back to Cleveland?
Yeah, he didn't know the greatest player in the world was going to be there. Yeah, Coach Cal was like, what I look like? Byron Scott? I'm good. Yeah.
Hey,
I'm good, homeboy.
That would have been, that would have been nice to see, because, of course, Calipari, when he was with, what was that, New Jersey?
Yeah.
Bad
looks.
Bad
look for the kids.
It didn't go the way that he would have scripted it if he could have written the story. But yeah, that would have just been interesting if he had ended up with LeBron, a guy that he's in love with.
It's so funny that the other day, man, I was just having that thought before that little thing came out. I was just having that thought, like, man, like Calipari is where he needs to be. It's like Nick Saban. To me, there's no need for Nick Saban to try to do the NFL thing again. He tried it. Didn't work out, like Steve Spurrier.
Right.
Your college coaches.
Right.
And like the next day after I had the thought, he was like, well, looks like Cal wants to get back in the NBA. I was like, why? Why? Like, every year, dude, you get, like, it'll be the equivalent of every year signing LeBron James to a free agent deal every year. That's what he gets in college. He gets the LeBron Jameses of the high school class every year. Why would you trade that? But, when dudes are rich and bored and talented, they seek out bigger and better challenges, or they try to rewrite their own personal history. I effed it up last time, which they see me this time, and it ends up being terrible again. Same
thing. The same exact thing.
We got 45 seconds here, Rob. Maybe we should maybe I should start my album now, my humming album, with the next 30 seconds. Give the people a little Chick-fil-A sample. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. You gotta wait till the mixtape drop. Yeah.
This ain't for free.
You gotta wait till that mixtape hit the street, shouting. You understand? Yeah. Coming soon. Download that. iTunes, Spreaker, all that.
Oh, my God.
It's the Sports Kings podcast, man. I'm Big Mike. He's Rob Calloway. This has been a Thursday edition right here on Spreaker.com. That's SPREAKER.com. Make sure you tell a friend to follow us, like us, all those things on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Sports Kings Live is the handle. The email as well is sportskingslive